Welcome to Inside the Game on the National Soccer Network. Now, here are your hosts, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler.
Good morning and welcome into Inside the Game here on this Monday, December the 1st. I'm Jonathan Turner. That's Nathan Wangler, Ryan Glinsky, our producer. It's number 199 here on this Monday morning, just one episode away from 200. And we're excited to be back here after the long weekend. And Nathan, and first and foremost, how was your Thanksgiving?
Good. It was great with the family. Did a bunch of pictures and stuff afterwards, ate food, played cards. Typical stuff. So, yeah, but it was good. Nice to have a couple of days. So, obviously, every single sporting event sucked. So, wasn't even worth turning the TV on for 2 straight days. But outside of that, no, it was great. So, I had a fun time with everybody involved, and yeah, and now we're back to the grind.
Ryan, man, how was your Thanksgiving riblets on Thursday?
Oh, it was horrible. The Lions lost. Season's done. And then Michigan loses the next on Saturday, and I didn't feel the best on Thursday based on what happened the day before. But no, it was horrible. Lions just suck. Like, they're bad. I don't know. Like, the food was fine, family was good, but the football team, they just suck. All of them suck. I didn't like it. I didn't like that.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard. I was actually awoken from a nap, a deep nap, by my dad being very upset at the television screen, and everybody else kind of watching him get upset at the television screen because he kind of became the show in that moment. So, but again, just immediate family, so we all kind of know what it is. But, yep, when
Football team sucks. Now we
Brad
all
Holmes
agree that
says
the
a little
football team is not
smartest man
good.
in the room syndrome. I think that's hurt this team. So I don't know.
Yeah, I still don't subscribe to the fact the team is not good. I don't know if I
They're
subscribe
7-5
to that.
and they can't block anybody.
Yeah, I don't subscribe to the fact that they're not good. I might subscribe to the fact that they are not the same team they were last year, and that they, missing some pieces. But to sit here and say they're not good, the Cleveland Browns aren't good. They're New York Jets, they're not good, right? Miami Dolphins, they're garbage. All right, we can talk about a lot of teams that are terrible. They're not terrible. They're just not playing to the standard that some was created here the last couple of years, and we're not happy about that. But to call them garbage and to call them trash, I think that we're, again, just like with Michigan. Michigan lost to Ohio State because they played. Michigan is not good. They're not a great team. They're a good team. They're not a great team.
They're just a whole bunch of mid.
And so I think, again, when you think
mid.
about what happened with 2 years removed from a national championship, we have this expectation that every time they roll out there, they can go out and win. They beat Ohio State 4 years in a row. They didn't do it this year, right? So there are some things. But remember, there's a period of time there we didn't beat Ohio State for, 10 years? It was like 8 years. It was some crazy number. We had a hard time beating Ohio State for a long time. And I don't know how many years it was specifically, but it was a lot longer than 4 years, right? And so things come and go in waves, right? And right now, we knew this. The Lions last year were, if we look about that division, I mean, it was the Vikings, the Packers, the Lions. All three of them arguably playoff teams. All three went to the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. Right? So, I mean, when you have three teams from your conference go, and to be fair, the only team that's kind of surprising this year is probably the Vikings. I thought the Vikings were going to show a way better than they did or have been, this season.
They don't have
right?
a quarterback.
Well, I know they don't have a quarterback, but I'm saying that we all believe that they would have been maybe better. I mean, to go from what they were last year, where they were won 12 games. Didn't they win 12 games last year?
14.
They won 14 games last year, right?
Yeah,
so
the
think about
Lions
that.
had
I mean,
14
we're in a
before.
tough division, and so we're not like if we're in the NFC West. Like that'd be great. It would be great if we were the NFC West because that division sucks. It's like Seattle always comes out on top of that division with like an 8-4 record or 8-8 record or something like that. Some crazy, whatever it is. I know that the Rams are in that NFC West, aren't they? And obviously they're having a great year. But let's be honest. I mean, who's the next best team in that league in that conference? Who's the next best team? I'm just saying that our conference is extremely difficult for the last number of years, and you have the Bears, who were the worst team in the division last year. Now they're the best team.
They're the number one team in the NFC right now.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like there's. So I don't call the Lions
offensive
garbage.
Coordinator of the game.
Huh?
I said best offensive coordinator in the game, and but you have to be. You can be critical. You can still be critical, and it's important to be critical because it doesn't. If you're not, it doesn't put pressure on anybody in that front office to kind of get their what up and make a better decision the second time around, because the issues that we're seeing right now could have been addressed. And it's funny how in football, and I was talking about this on Thanksgiving with my dad, I'm like, there are certain things that will always remain true. Always. I already talked about one of them on this show, and that's in order to win, you have to be able to establish a running game. Because time of possession, a lot of times, decides pretty much the majority of things in football, right? If I get to hold on to the ball for longer than you do, I get to control the physicality of the game, the flow of the game, everything's in my hands. That's number one. But where does that start? That starts up front. Everything really kind of hinders on what your offensive line can and can't do. And with this skeleton crew that we have, I thought it was hilarious to watch Lions fans celebrate Frank Ragnow coming out of retirement. Like somehow he's just going to be able to come off the couch and be able to perform in the same way that he would at the height of his career. Yeah, exactly. And he fails his physical. So I'm like, well, yeah, no, duh. That's the kind of backup you were expecting. This offensive line is terrible, absolutely awful compared to what we had a season ago. And then you obviously you add in, last 2 years. Yeah, you're right. But on the other side, and this hurts me as a Michigan fan to say this because I like the guy and I do think he's a great player. I don't think Hutch has really been the same pass rusher as he was before his injury. I think he's a very good player. I don't think he's a great edge rusher. And yeah, we can talk about we can talk about QB pressures and everything like that, but what matters to me is when you get home. What matters to me is when you make contact.
He never does.
He never does. He can't get home. And I don't like this excuse about how, he gets doubled so he can't get there. We had a chance to build up our edge rush and really give him a complementary piece to make this defense more dynamic, and we didn't do it. Jordan Love could have made a 5-course meal in the pocket. It was disheartening to see. It was the same deal with Michigan against Ohio the following day. So there are things that this organization could have done in order to fill those gaps to make this team a more complete team. What happened was we overvalued what we had. And that's the most concerning thing about Brad Holmes is does he have the smartest man in the room syndrome, where he thinks he can just throw anybody out there and they're going to be able to carry us to the promised land. Like you had a chance to fix to plug these holes and you didn't do it. So now you made the bet, you're going to sleep in it and we're going to miss the playoffs because of it. That's really disappointing for an organization that was one half away from going to a Super Bowl. So yes, expectations have changed. Wholeheartedly, they've changed. And for the good.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to spend the whole show talking about the Detroit Lions. But again, if if we talk about all the things that are happening within the Lions organization, the biggest challenge the Lions have is staying healthy. And so whether that be the defense last year was it. It's still it this year. We have a number of players defensively who are not able to play. Same thing on the front line, right? On your offensive line, there are a number of players who should not be on the field, but they are because they're filling in holes. I mean, Frank Ragnow. There's an announcement that he was going to be making, coming back. He's got a grade 3 hamstring tear, so basically a complete tear of his hamstring. And Ragnow is a player that obviously last year for the Lions, very good player, right? I mean, he anchored that line for us, right? And so I understand what everybody is saying, and I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for anything. I'm just saying that to sit here and call this team garbage, I think Ryan, I think you like to use these phrases
because they're not good. They're not going to make the playoffs.
But again, if we, I could say there's a lot of teams out there that aren't good. I'm just saying we are a good football team. We are not a great football team right now. We're a good football team.
They're mid. They're just a mid football team.
Okay, I think that would basically be in line with what I'm saying. But to call them garbage, again, from someone that lived a 0-16 season, someone that lived us never making the playoffs, and if we ever made having no meaningful games at all in December and January, we are not garbage. And I think that's the only thing I'm trying to convince you of is to sit here and say we're not trash, we're not garbage. Michigan's not garbage. They're not the great team that we want to go out and see on that field. And I think it's okay to say that. You know what I mean? Again, just because the expectations this year were playoffs, I mean, that doesn't mean they're a garbage, trash team. It just means that they aren't going to hit that expect. And again, we still don't know. A lot of things can still happen in the next 4 or 5 weeks, where the Lions could, they could get some healthy players back and get healthy again, and maybe we could do some things. I don't know. You're right. This is not the same team, but to watch Jahmyr Gibbs go off for 200 plus yards here 2 weeks ago, beat the Giants, who have while they've lost a lot of games, they have found ways to lose games than win games. And I keep saying this about the Lions. The Lions of yesteryear would have been the Giants 2 weeks ago. Come back, be in it, go into over, find a way to get ahead, and then all of a sudden get a game-tying field goal, and then what do? We lose. I can't. I'm the Green Bay Packers. I still have nightmares about that game. Aaron Rodgers throwing that bomb after the penalty.
Wasn't a face
the
mask.
Phantom face mask that happened. I'm still living in that nightmare. There was a Sunday night. I'll never forget. I think it was a Sunday night. It wasn't a Monday, but it was a. I'm sitting here going, "This is terrible." I cannot believe this happened. Watching Calvin Johnson. It's like I just don't. That was garbage. Like that was garbage. And so I'm just yeah. Anyways. We got a great
would you
show.
admit that missing the playoffs would be a disappointment?
Huh?
Would be a letdown for this team and for the organization.
I get. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I have to also say this is that again there are 3 unbelievable teams in our division. We almost last year missed out. If we didn't beat the Vikings, we would have finished in second, and we would have been the 6th seed, fifth seed. I mean, that's nuts. That's nuts. That doesn't happen a ton. And so you have to acknowledge the fact that we are in a really tough division. And while that's not an excuse, if you have an off game, right? If you have an off game, and last year we beat every single divisional opponent every time. We didn't lose a single division game last year. I don't think we lost one the year before that either. If we did, it was maybe one.
They did. They lost a couple.
So my point though is that we did not. And this year, you're gonna other teams are gonna maybe find ways to get past you, and now they have, and it's something that we're gonna have to adjust if we want to get back to the playoffs, especially if this division continues to be as tough as it is. Because it used to just be like the Green Bay Packers and then everybody else. Right? It used to just be them. And maybe the Vikings every once in a while would get like a little lucky. But it was the Packers that would always win this damn thing. And now it's different. Now it's, So anyways.
Luckily we got basketball.
We have great show lined up here today. We're going to talk MLS. We're going to talk about some great things happening here at the network. We're going to talk about, I'm sure we have other things we want to get into as well, but a lot coming up here. Don't go anywhere. Number 199 continues this morning here on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics,
letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail.
Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play,
NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate.
Call 586-304-4405
and start watching today.
Welcome back to Inside the Game here on this Monday, December the 1st, first day of December. And we are just one episode away here from number 200 of Inside the Game this year. And we're excited about that. Hey, during the break, I was looking at the Lions injury report real quick, and I was just like, you know what, man? The one thing that if we talk about those blindside hits that happened to Goff here on Thursday, you know, not having your tight end, right, Laporta. As much as Laporta is great at being someone that can catch a ball in the end zone, downfield, whatever, and be a great receiver for us, the main role of a tight end is to be another blocker. Right, especially protect especially in our system, right? And so, not having him in there, only creates more chaos. And so, I think that's an important thing to acknowledge. Not having your, I think he was an all NFL, right? Wasn't he last year?
Imagine.
I think he was first team. He was up there if he wasn't up there in the NFC. But either way, important to say. Hey, the MLS. Finals of the championship game coming up this weekend on Saturday is set. It is Inter Miami taking on the Vancouver Whitecaps. I believe this is a first for both of them. And so it'll be the first time, I think in a long time, that we've had two first-time teams making it to the MLS Cup final. But it's this Saturday, December the 6th, at Chase Stadium in Fort Lauderdale, I believe, is where they actually play their games, even though they're called Inter Miami. But, hey, how'd they get there? I mean, let's be honest. It was a hat trick from the MLS, from Inter Miami on, I believe it was on Saturday that game took place, beating New York City, New York City, by a score of 5-1. It's a big time victory, winning 5-1. Again, you know, you can argue about Messi got his 405th assist. Which is obviously, I think it's obviously the best ever in the history of soccer.
Yeah, someone on social media said it's 410, but that was from like some player back in the day.
Oh.
So,
well, he's just.
But I don't know how. But they say 405 broke the record. So we'll see.
405. Well, either way, 405
assists. He's gonna get over 410 anyway, so it's not like it even matters.
But 405.
He's gonna get there.
Is the assist that he got in that game. Also, I believe scored a goal too in that game, if I'm not mistaken. I know that there's a hat trick as well, and so I don't know if I have the scoring summary in front of me, but yeah, I mean, hey, Inter Miami. We talked about this earlier in the year with the type of talent that this team has. There's no reason this team shouldn't be in the Cup final. I mean. And I know that there was some debate about that on social media land, but just because you have the best players doesn't mean you're always going to make it to the finals. I mean, I can't think of a time in history where the best team wasn't always, at least in the conversation, to be in the finals. And here they are, and here they have a chance to win it on Saturday.
Yeah, Messi's the best. I mean, he's the best player in history, right? So he's going to find a way to break the record at some point. And so it's just a matter of time for him. But yeah, how about the old guys getting to the end of the line? You know, I thought there was a little bit of shakiness, especially after the Seattle matchup when they got knocked out of that thing. And obviously you have, you know, the mix up at the end and then the suspensions and everything that came out. And I talked about him being a villain and how a lot of their players are kind of on the tail end of their careers. And so was the rest of the MLS starting to catch up? Because we saw what Portland did to them. And obviously we know what the history is between Vancouver and Miami as well. But I'm just saying the old guys have found a way to kind of flip that switch and got all the way to the end. But it's Miami. It's the team that we're familiar with. And on the other end, unless you've been paying attention, Vancouver's a great story too. Reaching the MLS Cup final is really just the latest in terms of milestones and what they've seen under Jesper Sorensen, who is into his first year coaching them. By the way, it's the matchup of Sebastian Berhalter and Lionel Messi. That's the matchup the folks want to see. I'm just letting you know.
Is anyone concerned about the fact that Messi against Freeze gives up 5 goals?
Yeah, don't start him.
Is anyone else concerned about that? I just thought about that. 5 goals. I mean, I'm not saying it's Matt Freeze's fault, but I mean, like, you know, he's facing the guys he's going to be seeing here in a couple months.
Looks like Matt Turner's our starter.
But it was Vancouver who bounced them out of the CONCACAF Champions Cup semifinal. So, and then obviously they won their 4th consecutive Canadian championship. So they've emerged as, I think, the best in Canada four consecutive times. They've shown that, but they've also shown that they can beat Miami too. So see if they can do it a second time around. But yeah, I think I hope Freezer doesn't give up 4 goals. That would be uncomfortable. Not great.
That it would correct. So the championship game is set here for Saturday, 2:30. Inter Miami, Vancouver Whitecaps coming up here on a lot going on this week, by the way, in the world of soccer. We'll talk about what we have going on, but I mean we've got the World Cup draw coming up here on Friday. That is at 11 and 1 p.m. Eastern. They will reveal who's playing who, or at least who's in the pot. I don't think we're going to actually determine who's playing at what time and all that stuff on Friday. That will come later. The pots, and we're going to know whether it's a group of death or whether the United States have an easier group here as part of their World Cup here coming up in 2026. We'll have full coverage of that this week as well.
Yeah, and we were looking at all the different scenarios, and Ryan, I saw that video that you put out yesterday talking about groups of death, and I think that would be really interesting in terms of a segment on this show, because I thought there were some interesting ones in there about what different groupings would look like and where the U.S. would fare better. I thought the comment saying Weston McKennie can hang with Holland was a little funny, or Tyler Adams, sorry, can hang with Holland. Is that something you believe?
Yeah, he's done it time and time again in the Premier League. Like
I've seen it. I also believe that too.
He also scored a banger this weekend. I don't know who Bournemouth played, but it was insane. It was like a 30-yard strike that he scored. But no, Adams can hang. He scored against Man City this year too. Yeah, he did. He scored at the Etihad. Yeah, so I think Tyler Adams is a player that could 100% compete with Holland. Holland is.
So you don't buy into Norway,
huh?
You don't buy into Norway.
I don't think
you don't put a lot of stock into what they can do.
Norway is just the best team out of in the third pot. That's simply what it is. They have talent. Yep. Odegaard's fine. Holland's fine. There's another player. I know what he looks like, and I'm going to butcher his name, so I won't say it. But he plays overseas. They just have a couple of guys. Yeah. That's really about it. As an overall team, no, they're not that great, and I think the U.S. would probably win like a 1-0 or a 2-1 game. Holland, it's got to be physical with him, and he's very good. He's very potent in the box. He's a very good player inside the box, but outside of that, it doesn't really do much. So you just got to get physical with him. Make sure you're marking him well, and I think Richards and Adams would be perfectly fine against guarding or matching up with Holland. So I don't think Norway is all that sweet. I really don't.
I will say I do the idea of us being in that pot and maybe giving us an easier route or an easier route into the knockout stages, I think is a little bit is nicer, but there's different combinations depending that might be tougher for this U.S. men's national team. Just the hard thing is I don't think we got the best look at like Japan. I don't think enough people are talking about the issues that Japan could present for the United States. Again, we just didn't see the best version of them in the friendly, admittedly, in which we beat them. So. Yeah, a lot of different combos, but we should dive into those comments a little bit later on because I think there's some good ones in there. I don't want to play Morocco. That's it. I don't want to play Morocco. I don't want to face them. I don't want anything to do with those dudes. Had nothing to do with those dudes. But anybody else,
their youth teams have done phenomenal in their showings this year, winning the World Cup at the U19, the U20s, and then. Right,
yeah, U17, U20, and the Olympic team for the U.S. So all of them out of play.
Yeah, I think we all agree that Morocco, let's just keep them as far away. But here's what's going to happen, right? When you start saying things like this, they end up in your group.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%.
We should be like, oh, yeah, well, we want to play them.
Yeah, we want that smoke.
The reverse psychology of the draw.
No, you know they're going to put him in there.
But here's the thing, too, I think. Again, we don't have to finish number one.
Again, you don't even have to finish number 2. You just got to be better than 16 teams, and you're in the knockouts. Yeah. That's all you got to do.
That's true. But at the same time, if you finish top 2, you're guaranteeing yourself. Top 3 or finishing third doesn't guarantee you anything. So I think that's an important thing. So you got to find a way to be in that top 2. So if Morocco were in your group, you just got to worry about the other 2 teams. Just get through them and be on your way. And so I think that's important.
Though. Like, Is expanding the field a smart choice? Because
No.
I feel like I've seen like people go back and forth on this, and I would agree with you, Ryan. I would agree that no, and we're just kind of murking the waters. And even when we look at college football with the 12-team playoff, I think that's stupid. I don't think you need to put 12 teams into a playoff. Did it really? Okay, it's cool that Boise State gets the chance to say, "Hey, we made the playoffs." Like that's a cool little banner you can hang, you can hand out merchandise. You're not going to win a national championship. I'm sorry. You're not the best team in the country. You're great. You're a top 10 team. That's cool. That's awesome for you. Whoop-de-doo. You get to go. But it only seems ridiculous to me in that way because there are just certain countries that they're not going to stick around. Like they really have no fighting chance. It's cool, the Cinderella story and everything attached to it. But what are we doing outside of just trying to create more games to make more money and murking the waters? But I also find that at the same time, I think it's cool when a country like Curacao, and they're 150,000 strong, is able to sneak in the back door. So, like, I don't know. I think it's a mixed bag. But, Ryan, why don't you like it?
Because we're just not going to have good games. Not like, look at the NFL playoffs when they were like, let's just add another team in there. Like it just gets more blowouts for between the 2 and the 7 seed. And you look at college football playoff, there was no good games up until the Georgia Notre Dame game, maybe the Arizona State Texas game. But other than that, every single game was a blowout up to that point. Just because you expand the field doesn't mean you're going to get better.
But it's not
games.
it's not being expanded because you want better competition. It's getting expanded because you want more money.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But I'm saying that's why I don't like it because the theory is.
Well, you would like it if you were on FIFA.
Well, yeah, but
if you were on the FIFA board, you'd love it. You'd be making a shit ton of money.
What they're trying to say is it'll create better games, it'll create better matchups. That's what they all say, but it doesn't. In reality, it doesn't. Even if you remember the 4-team college football playoff, we got blowouts time and time again up until the national championship. It just because you add in more teams, maybe you'll get one good extra game in the group stage because it's just 2 bad teams playing against each other. But we're going to see blowouts in the round of 32. We're going to see blowouts in the round of 16. That's just the way that it's going to happen. But for the U.S.'s sake, you just got to be better than 16 teams. And that's all you have to do. And you get in the round of 32. And then once you get in the mix, once you get in the dance, anything can happen.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to acknowledge the fact. First off, FIFA. None of the countries around the world pay FIFA anything. All their money comes from rights deals, all their money, and so they're projected to bring in $8.9 billion in rights deals from the World Cup.
Makes sense
Alone, right? So $8.9 billion. Now they're going to have a purse. They're going to pay out. I don't know whatever the money is. Probably $500,000. Sorry, $1 million. Sorry, well, $500 million. I think is what the payout is for the men's World Cup. Somewhere in the neighborhood of $400 million. But I want to think about this right now for a second. I don't know really what FIFA does. You know what I mean? Outside of their governing body, I get that. You're not being paid, though. No one's paying to be in this governing body. You're just in it. And all they do is just pull off these events that countries around the world bid for, pay for the rights to those, and then put on the event themselves. I don't think FIFA pays a single nickel of the World Cup, out of their own pocket because they have the host nations doing that for them. And so, and then everyone wants to broadcast it because why wouldn't they? They want to bring in advertisers. So it's interesting how this whole thing works out. It's almost kind of like a Ponzi scheme in itself, right? Because all they do is just say, we're going to have a tournament here in 2026. And please bid for it. People pay to bid, and then they elect it, and then everyone else pays for it, and then they receive all the rights for it. It's a very interesting setup of how this works. I gotta love it. It's so American though.
Yeah, we
know
uniquely
why.
American.
Yeah,
we know why everyone expands. Like we all know why, but it's just in theory, it's supposed to create better matchups. It's supposed to create better games. Which, mind you, another thing that has not been mentioned: the top 4 seeds. Which, hold on, I do have the thing still in here to show. The top 4 seeds, which I believe are France, Germany, England, Spain, I think is what it is. Maybe not Germany in there. Maybe there's another one. But those 4 teams will not play each other until the semifinals. And sometimes, you could, like I remember in 2022, Belgium and Brazil, 2 of the favorites met in the quarterfinals. So that's another thing to mention in the new World Cup format and seeding is that we will not see the best teams, the best matchups, the best teams play each other until later on in the tournament. So, and the thing is they have to get there. They got to win 3 knockout games in order to even get to that spot. So, again, this could go horribly wrong for FIFA, but it could also go completely right. I mean, I'm not arguing that, they're only doing this to – we all know why they're expanding it, is to get more money. March Madness at a time was like 16 teams. Now it's 64 or 68. And
then there's those play-in games, right? Those play-in games. Which
no one cares for it. No one's staying up at 10:30 p.m. on a Tuesday to watch it.
Every year, though, everybody goes to Dayton. I guess Dayton is like the staple for the play-in games, right? Go to Dayton, and you got to go play in this environment, and you get your 2 play-in games, and
there's like no one even in the stands anyway.
But again, it's TV deal. Again, those games from a betting standpoint, it's all money. And the only reason they're like FIFA's like, yeah, we don't care. It's all to make the environments can be more competitive. That's just a talking point.
It's all to just get more money. That's all it is. I'm not arguing that part, but it's just going to be.
It's all about money.
Bet now.
Bet now. That's right.
Are you betting yet?
No.
Are you spending your money yet?
I mean, look at this. What happened in the last 3 or 4 years, right? Now Fox on Sunday or even on Thursday, all they're doing is, what's your pick today? And you've got, Amon St. Brown's going to do 140 yards in catching today. He's going to be over. Like, they're giving you the betting lines live on the air. All at the bottom of the screen, there's a little disclaimer that you can barely read. You need to have your magnifying glass like Inspector Gadget just to be able to see what it says. And they're all doing it, and so it's all about money. And if anyone thinks anything otherwise, it's all about. And you know what? Hey, it's cool. I guess we get more games. There's 104 matches that we'll get to watch as part of the World Cup. Congratulations to FIFA, and they'll bring in close to $11 billion.
I was about to say, it's a big difference from $11 million to billion
in this cycle. It's pretty impressive. Okay. So, obviously, we got to the pots. We made an announcement yesterday. I think we've been talking about this for, at least internally we've been talking about this, about how we wanted to highlight and elevate club soccer in this country. And starting in 2026, coming here in January, we will have our very own club soccer show here that'll come and be available on all of our platforms coming here in January. By the way, you see Apple TV there and Samsung and LG. That's right. Effectively in January, we will be on Apple TV and Samsung TVs on LG as well. So that announcement, while it was made, kind of as part of this process, but we haven't actually officially announced it. But yes, we will be on Apple TV here coming here in January, so you can catch us and download us on any one of those TV platforms on your TV. But our goal is to highlight club soccer teams, players, coaches around the country. We will do that each and every time we turn on the camera and go live or record here each and every time for that show. You'll be able to watch that show again on all of our platforms. Look out for more details of when that show will air here in January. It'll be hosted by members of our crew here, whether that be me, Ryan, Nathan. We'll be bringing that to you here starting in January.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's it's really cool to see. A lot of cool clubs to highlight.
First of its kind, by the way. There's never been a national youth soccer club show ever. And so we are happy to do that as well. So 10,000 clubs, by the way, in this country. Think about that and put that in perspective. That's how many youth clubs. And if every team, some clubs have a couple hundred teams. Some clubs have maybe 20 or so teams. Some clubs have maybe like 1,000 teams. And so that you can just imagine how many players are participating in the game of soccer here in this country. We're happy to start that process of highlighting clubs and players and coaches here in January. Also announced here yesterday, on Saturday, I believe, Major League Indoor Soccer and Lansing are coming here to the National Soccer Network coming up here on this Saturday as they kick off their home opener. The Lansing Red Cedar FC Football Club We are their official broadcast partner for their season. Their games take place in Novi at Toka, and we'll bring those games to you live here on the NSN as well as on the Major League Indoor Soccer YouTube channel. Again, that's coming up Saturday night, 8 o'clock here on the National Soccer Network. So we're excited about that announcement as well. Able to get that one over the goal line here on Thanksgiving night. So never stops.
And if it's anything like the MASL, it's going to be a riot. But attaboy. On Turkey Day. Attaboy.
I know. So Major League Indoor Soccer, and we've also got MASL. MASL kicked off this weekend on the platform as well. So don't forget about that. We had 3 games this weekend, 2 on Friday, which were on Golazo, but now available on demand on NSN, as well as we did have the live event of the I-70 showdown between St. Louis Ambush and Kansas City, which Kansas City took both of those this weekend. And currently, obviously, are first in the MASL standings as of today. But we will have all 96 broadcasts of Major Arena Soccer on our platform this season. So don't forget to check that out. A lot of games coming your way Friday, Saturday, Sunday up here on the National Soccer Network. A lot going on. And now, this will not be on our platform this week, but we are the ones producing it, so you can watch it on Sports Engine Play live for free, and on demand, you got to pay for it. But we will be covering the USL Academy Finals here this Thursday through Sunday here on the on Sports Engine Play. But we'll be producing it as part of our relationship with USL. There are, 16 teams traveling into Bradenton, Florida, just outside of Tampa Bay. At IMG Academy, we'll be covering those games all the way from the quarterfinals all the way through the finals on Sunday. Those games will kick off at 10, noon, and 2 on Thursday, and then noon and 2 on Friday. I believe noon. Both games are at noon on Saturday, and then on Sunday we'll have the third place game at 9, and then the final is at noon. So all those games again can be watched on Sports Engine Play here later this week, which also means that come Thursday and Friday, we will not have our show here this week as well because we will be busy producing games from Thursday.
So sad.
On. I know, right? It's sad.
Maybe we could do a broadcast and the show at the same time. I mean, if we're not doing anything on the National Soccer Network platform, I mean, we could.
It is. It's possible. It's just a matter of getting it all to pulling it all off. But yeah. Also coming up here on Saturday, we've got Sunday, the UPSL quarterfinal matchup. Chicago Nation is at Pittsburgh. The Riverhounds are home of the Riverhounds, where I don't name the actual stadium though. But the Riverhound Stadium, I think maybe what it's called. But they're in Pittsburgh. We'll be covering that game. I'm not sure if we actually know who they're playing yet. I know there was the matchup. I'm not sure if it was on the UPSL website or not, but Chicago Nation was the Renegades. It would have been the Renegades and Bowles Athletic Club Capital City Islanders. So that game was supposed to be played on Saturday, but we have no updates as far as scores. So, but yeah, it would be between the Renegades or the Capital City Islanders. We'll know more about that, but that will be played here on Sunday in Pittsburgh.
Yay!
Ryan seems really excited.
Lots of stuff.
That looks like a cool stadium to go
going on. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to step aside for another break. We come back. Let's get into some mailbag. I know we had some comments. A lot of things happening over the weekend. We've gained a ton of traction on TikTok here over the last couple of days. We'll dive into that. But don't go anywhere. 199 continues here on this Monday, December the 1st.
Are you ready to create unforgettable moments for your audience? NSN offers professional live streaming and full broadcast services tailored to your needs.
From high-quality production to exceptional coverage,
We ensure your game or event becomes a spectacle to remember. Book your next game with us today.
call 586-304-4405 to schedule your broadcast.
And let NSN bring the action to life like never before.
Welcome back to Inside the Game here on this Monday morning. Jonathan Turner alongside Nathan Wengler and Ryan Glinsky, our producer. And let's talk mailbag here. I'm sure we got a lot of comments, a lot of things happening in our social media land here over the last week or so. And Ryan, let's dive into some comments from social media land.
Yeah. So let's. I don't even know which one to pick at this point. So let's go to Nate's pathway to play. He says if we have this guy from Hot Dog Man, 300 billion people. This is kind of like what all Americans kind of say about soccer and how we aren't good at it. He says 300 million people in this country, and we can't even find 25 players to seriously compete against the world. Yes, we need revamping in our system. The youth system.
Yeah.
Ahead,
I know that Nate's got some comments as well about this. We've talked about revamping the youth system. The biggest challenge in all of this is the money side of it. We talk about that all the time. If you took the same model in soccer and put it in football, we would really start to be terrible at football. Because now you're who's going to play? Who's going to be able to pay for it, right? And I think that's, obviously, an important thing to acknowledge, right? And so, yes, our system needs to be revamped. There's no question about that. Do I think it's a hindrance? I absolutely do. And if this strategy will create an opportunity for players who otherwise wouldn't be seen or have a chance to play, then I'm all for it. But again, as long as there's pay to play in this country, we're always going to be in a spot where, especially when it's like, dog eat dog, my club versus your club. And we just talk about how we're going to be highlighting clubs. But I mean, let's be honest, the best clubs in this country are the best for a reason. And when they're the best for the reason, what does that mean for the player who's coming in? It means that their mom or dad are willing to drive, willing to pay, willing to do this, that, and the other in order to get their kid into that club so that kid can go where? To the next level, which is collegiate play, right? Division I scholarship on the line. Where do I want to go, right? And so all those things feed into this whole mentality. And so mom and dad don't want to say, if you're asking me, I want my kids to go to the best school, I want them the best teachers, I want them the best this, best whatever, they can have the best that money can buy, I'm going to provide that to my child. No one's going to say, I want to go to the third best team in the state. Who says that? I don't think anyone says that. I think if you are trying to get your kid to where you think they are supposed to go, you're going to take them to the best place, not the third best. You might have to settle for third best to get the first best, but you want first best, and I think that's an important thing to acknowledge, and that's what this system has created. But at the same time, what does best even mean? Does it mean you're sending all these kids to college? Does it mean you're turning out a bunch of quote unquote a-holes? Like, what does best even mean? Because I think we're all still trying to figure out what best even means when it comes to the game here in this country. But I know, Nate, you've got a few words as well.
I mean, I think it's something as simple as trying to just reduce the sheer amount of money that parents and family members have to spend in order to get the most out of the experience. I mean, it is in terms of availability, and we've already talked about the sheer number of players who are playing the sport in the United States. But what's most important, I think, in all of this is that you have, and I see this in baseball too. And I remember talking to certain players who came from just poor areas, and, specifically when it comes to Black Americans being represented in Major League Baseball. I've had a lot of talks with players that have come through, West Michigan, who have said it's not that they don't want to play. It's that we're getting to a point now to where everything that they need in order to play is getting more expensive. And mind you, these athletes that he's talking about are going on and playing football at the major Division I level, or they're going on to play basketball at the Division I or Division II level. Like, these are very competitive, hungry kids that want the opportunity to get themselves out of the position they're in order to do better for their family, for their mom, for their dad, whoever it may be, or just for themselves. But in order to do that, you need every single possible little break financially that you can get to make that work sometimes. And that's all this is. Honestly, the fact that we're talking about competing internationally when it comes to reducing the cost of playing for the youth, I don't really think the two are necessarily directly intertwined. Now, if you get more kids to choose soccer over the other major sports, culturally you're going to shift things. And then it plays into what we can do internationally, because we saw that growth of hockey and really what was kind of an exponential growth in the United States. Now we're one of the best at playing the sport in the world. That used to not even be in the conversation. So it's little by little that eventually all that builds up to now we have a crop of players on the national team that we know can confidently can go compete with the best in the world. I know there's layers to that, but the most important thing in my mind is just how can we cut costs for families, wherever it is, however it looks. And I think we, being us three, we understand the financial struggles that come with every single day, but maybe not to the same extent as the families in question. And we know that the game of soccer touches many different communities, right? So it's not just the and I know the game of football does as well, but soccer is more, soccer is the world's game and we understand it. So that's the most important thing in my mind. All of that eventually adds up to results on the international level.
Yeah, I agree. And I know, Ryan, obviously both you and I played in the club soccer environment as well. And I can tell you, obviously it's vastly changed since I played. You were more closer to it than I was. I did coach it here many years ago. And I told this in previous shows about the club soccer environment and how, again, at times it felt like numbers in, numbers out, right? I would imagine on some level a player today, a student today in the college environment might think of themselves as only a number in a large pie, right? And so do they have the individualism that they want? Do they feel like they're being recognized in their collegiate experience? My guess is it's obviously based on a case-by-case basis, but I would imagine we talk about the educational system in this country as well, kind of in the same tone, right, where it's not right. Something's not right with it. And we can all put our fingers on what we think should be fixed, but how do you fix it, right? And it's too expensive, right? There's too many students going into a lecture hall and no idea who this student even is. I think that could be true also in the club soccer environment where there's, you're taking teams. I mean, you're taking teams that otherwise maybe wouldn't even be in club. They'd be rec. But because they had success in rec, you're taking an entire team and bringing them into a club. And now they're in a club and they're like, oh, we're great. And then what happens with those players? Well, they all think that they're the best thing ever. And so when they go play high school soccer, they think that they're better than every other player. And well, just because they're the best on that one team they're playing, does that mean that they're the best player on their team? No, it doesn't.
What scares me is that it so closely resembles like the capitalistic economy that we have at the same exact time too. Like, we're going to tell you everything you want to hear to get the money out of you, regardless of what happens to your kid, or if he's even as close to as good as what we say he is. It's the same thing with consumerism in the United States. You can't survive without buying this product. You need this product. You want to know why? Because of this, that, and the other thing. It's going to make your life this much easier. And they dangle these deals in front of you, like spend your money, come here to Target or Kohl's or wherever the hell, drop all your money here. It feels like that same approach that corporate America takes to get people to spend their money is the same approach that we see out of youth soccer coaches sometimes. Not all of them. I'm not going to say it's, it's kind of like pastors, there's a bad one mixed in there. They're not all bad people, but it seems like that strategy is something that is not only effective, but also just being used. And that's what's kind of scary.
And I do think the vast majority of clubs out there are trying to do right by their club and by their players. And to be fair, it's no different than kind of like, if any business for that matter, you're going to try and protect the shield, right? And you're going to try and while at the same time trying to protect the people who are part of that or underneath that shield. And that means that you're letting coaches go or you're bringing new coaches in. And sometimes teams have to go someplace else to get better, right? Or to do it. There's so many different things into this. But I think that the ultimate goal of the strategy is to create an environment that is able to cultivate the talent that can get us to where we want to go, right, in the sport. Because that's what we're talking about here. We're not, as much as we are talking about, how much it costs to play club soccer or the coaching at that level, really it's about how do I take this big pot, this big melting pot, And how do I find a way to identify players who are in that pot to make their way up, the upper echelon of the club, of the sport environment, and compete at an international level? And while we have gotten better at that, we are still light years away from where we need to be.
I do think that is a big part of it, just not recognizing the talent. Like that's the answer the question, and it's a good question, and it's a fair question. I think that the population of the U.S. is something that's just like on its face. I don't think you can just be like, well, one country bigger than other countries, so therefore, I mean, it's like there's a lot more that goes into that. But no, yeah, you're 100% right. I think we're just not identifying and developing the right players. It might not necessarily be because they're not quote unquote from the trenches or from a place that's like, oh, they had to fight their whole life. Yeah, okay, there's some of that. There's a lot of hungry players out there, but like we're not effectively, again, developing the right players to get the most out of what our base is. I think we're getting better because I think every day I look at something that happened over in Europe that some American did, whether it be scoring a goal or assisting or whatever. Again, we don't have superstars. We have good players. We don't have superstars. Minus Christian Pulisic. I would claim he is a superstar. But I think we're getting better at that. But again, it's a long process. But I think this is another good step in the right direction.
Wow, that took almost 10 minutes. Wow,
there you go.
That's
it's a lot to talk about, though.
Didn't think that would take so much. Oh, I just lost it. So on my phone, oh, there we go. A lot of people also say, "Believe it when I see it," but this one coming from Drew Loring with 2 L's, mind you. Now, we talk about bold takes on this show. This is a bold take. If this happens, USA will surpass a lot of countries, and the MLS will become the #1 league if they add promotion and relegation. That's just not true.
The #1 league where?
He just says the #1 league, but
because right now there are the #1 league in the United States.
The #1 league in the U.S.
I take it in the world.
Well, then that to be fair is the what's his name again?
Drew Loring with 2 L's.
He's trying to rage bait.
Drew Loring
with 2 L's.
It seems to me that you might have fallen on your head.
Oh, poor Drew. Poor Drew.
It seems to me that maybe you've had too much Heineken in your life. It's like, because there's no way on God's green earth that the MLS will ever overtake the EPL. It's the Premier League. It will never happen, okay? And so whether we promote pro-rel, it doesn't matter. We will never overtake the thrones of the EPL, which I believe would, at this point, just based on history, is the #1 league in the world.
Yeah.
Top
I think
league.
he was trying to
based historically. I don't know where, Ryan, you feel about that, but I feel like the Premier League is the league. I think everything else might be around there as far as competitiveness, but I think just the league higher. I think Premier League's right there.
I would say Premier League's #1. I would go La Liga #2, even though
USL?
I think, huh?
He's like USL. Yes,
yeah,
#2 in the world.
USL's probably
And the
#2.
leapfrog the MLS.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh could compete with Manchester City.
Oh yeah.
But no, I'd say EPL would be #1. I think La Liga is a close second. I think that their top teams, I think, are a little bit better than the top EPL. No, Barcelona just lost 5-1 to Chelsea, so I don't know. I would say La Liga #2, and then 3 and 4. I mean, 3's got to be Bundesliga. Maybe 4 is. I don't even think the MLS would touch any of them. If they were to touch one of the top, Italy's also in there. Forgot about them. If they were to touch any of the leagues, it would be France. That'd be my only guess, mainly just because they have one team in that league, and that's PSG. Like, they're very good, don't get me wrong. And they just won the Champions League, and they have the Ballon d'Or winner, Ousmane Dembele. But that'd be the only league I could see them taking over if they all of a sudden got all this talent and everything. But I don't think the MLS will touch anywhere near the top 5. I mean, if you think about it in a college football aspect, MLS is just a mid-major that might have a good year over a Power 4, Power 5 league. So at this point, but no, I don't think the MLS would ever overtake any of those leagues. I think they would cap out at like the 6th best league in the world.
Yeah.
There you go. Question of the day.
question of the day. This is actually like Thanksgiving. This was going to be my first one on Wednesday, but luckily you guys didn't take it. So, Salt Athletic, the official sponsor of us here at the National Soccer Network, also of question of the day. Save 15% off by using promo code NSN15. Visit saltathletic.com today or scan that QR code. But question of the day, because he did a fantastic job on Thursday. Well, both of them. Jack White, he was fantastic. Eminem was fantastic. Who would be your dream halftime performance?
I feel like we tend to go more football on this show than we do anything else. I feel like on our questions of the day. I did not watch the Jack White halftime show because I was in a car driving to my sister's, and we found out that Kroger was closed, so we were searching for any open store on the way there. With that being said, my dream halftime show, I don't give a shit because I don't watch halftime shows. But there you go.
How do you not watch halftime shows?
It's my time to get up and go take a breather, get ready for the next half. I know my wife. Now, you ask my wife that question, she'll probably say Backstreet Boys or something, because, I mean, come on. I mean, to be fair, I think if you were to ask her what concert she want to go to right now, it'd be Backstreet Boys in the Sphere in Las Vegas.
Oh.
Who? Oh, Missy Elliott. She liked Missy Elliott, too. That was a good one a number of years ago.
I don't even know who that is.
But, yeah, I don't know if I have. Again, I mean... honestly, Family Guy. That'd be hilarious.
Family Guy?
Episode of Family Guy during halftime up on the big board.
Yeah.
I'll go with Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Dude, they were
would be a
great in the
blast.
Super Bowl with Bruno.
Yeah, big fan.
That was...
love them.
That'd be good. I would say the Super Bowl has dropped the ball in terms of Super Bowls over the last couple of years. I don't even know the last. I think the last good one we had was J-Lo and Shakira. That was probably like the last good one we had.
Good. Yeah.
I don't even remember the other ones. Like the Kendrick Lamar one was eh. It was more about Drake than anything, and I was like, "This is what you're gonna do. Is your halftime? This is like what artists want to do."
Pageantry, rap is a hard one to do. For like
What?
pageantry and lights and stuff, like rap it's a hard genre to like have. Like you have dancers and stuff, and like I thought his set was cool.
Yeah, that
And
was all
obviously the
cool.
song took over the world, but like it doesn't like jump out at like rock does.
Like
I don't know. In a
if you're-
massive setting like that.
If I'm a like we're all artists here, and like dream for all of us is to be a halftime Super Bowl performance. Yet I got picked and I made my performance all about you guys. Like that just sounds dumb. Like Kendrick made it all about Drake. Like every single thing was about
That's true.
Drake. Like if I'm Drake, I'm like, well, did I just perform the halftime performance? Because everything's about me in
Yeah.
this. But my dream performance. Linkin Park would be sweet because they're great in concert. I think anything country would be good. Not anything country. Thomas Rhett's my guy, so it'd be cool to see him. But based on what I see on social media all the time, when it like gets to Thanksgiving halftime performance time and it gets to like Super Bowl halftime performance, I want to see Creed because everyone says like it's this when they did the Cowboys one where they had the guy like actually flying in and stuff. They all said it's like this greatest thing ever. Anyone that like watched it or like was there said it's like the greatest performance they've seen. Outside of the Michael Jackson one, of course, where he didn't sing for 2 minutes. Outside of that, I just want to see that because they all said it's this great thing, and I just want to be able to like witness it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it all sounds great. I don't know if, like I said, I don't necessarily have a halftime show. It's I'm kind of not saying an anti halftime show. I just don't have any skin in the game. I just really do.
You're
not
a big
care.
commercials guy, I bet.
I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do like the commercials. I do. I do like the commercials. They've been bad recently. They've not been great.
It's all been bad recently.
Yeah.
Super Bowl, step up your game.
I know, right? Well, I mean, yeah, it is what it is.
You can't be funny anymore. That's illegal.
The things that you could pull off 10 years ago no longer can be pulled off anymore because of the world we live in. But that is what it is. But that'll wrap up here, number 199 this morning on this Monday, December the 1st. Be back here tomorrow for our 200th episode. We'll air here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. right here on the National Soccer Network. Don't forget to subscribe, like us, share this with your friends and family, and come back here again tomorrow morning, same time, same place. That's Ryan Glinsky, Nathan Wingler. I'm Jonathan Turner. See you here tomorrow, right back here on episode number 200 of Inside the Game.
From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wenger bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This is Inside the Game.